It's a foggy morning along the canal. Just me. It's just coming up to, I think, about 6:30 in the morning. And I'm just making my way down into town to do my shopping. And this is one of my favorite walks here. It's a little bit spooky in the mornings, which is what I like. Look at all these trees here and along the edge. And then you got the Caledonian Canal down there and the lights of Inverness beyond. It's been a very cold morning. It's -0. There's a heavy frost on the grass, and the puddles are all frozen. So anyhow, I'm just enjoying this early morning walk. I really love walking along the canal in the mornings. There's usually nobody here, the occasional runner, jogger, and sometimes you'll get a dog walker. But otherwise it's just me and the boys. So I'm going to take a little shortcut here and go across the fields. I'm going to take this track down here and head up over there. You can see all the mist in the low areas. So it's quite a misty morning. I think the autumn's my favorite time of the year, when it starts getting colder. It's been quite damp here recently. We've had quite a lot of rain recently, but I think the next few days are forecast to be dry but very cold. So I'm just making my way down this track here. And I've always loved hiking. As I've gotten older, though, my body's beginning to kind of give up the ghost. My knees are damaged, and my hip, and my back, because of all the work I've done, I suppose. I mean, I was a nurse for over 20 years, so that took a lot of wear and tear out of my bones. Being on your feet, 13-hour shifts, that kind of thing, and then all the hiking I've been doing over the last 40 years. So I don't get to hike as much as I used to. So we're just going to go through this little patch of woods here. I do carry a flashlight. But we're just going to come up to the clearing, which is the old golf course. And it's a little bit misty here too. I really love the atmosphere in the autumn. Got the big oak tree there. There's a dog walk over there. You see with the flashlight on. Anyhow, this is the old golf course. So I'm going to just go along the edge of it. I never go into town directly. I always walk into town these days. Kind of fun walking, as I say. I don't get to do a lot of walking up in the hills anymore. So I like to just walk whenever I can. And this is one of my favorite walks into town. It's kind of a long way. If I went directly from my house into town, it would take about half an hour. Doing it the long way takes me about an hour and a half. There's a crescent moon out there. And you got two dog walkers over there. You can just see them along the other edge of the field. This contraption here is used for collecting golf balls. So as I say, this is the old golf course. It's no longer used as a proper golf course. It's used as a practice range now. So You got a stand up on the top there, and the golfers will hit their balls down here. You got a lot of wildlife here. You got deer, rabbits. You got sparrowhawks. You got kites here, buzzards, and of course the big-haired dog walkers up there. Got some more oak trees here. It's a nice area for walking. And you can see the two over there just on the other side of the field. And I'm just going to keep going up there. Over there, just where the lights are, there is my neighborhood. That's where I live. I usually, as I say, go down to the canal, which is down past the trees there. And then I kind of backtrack up to the top here. And it is cold. It is very cold. You can see the frost on the grass. You can see the mist. It's real beautiful here, especially on a morning such as today. Has a different character in the middle of summertime. Then the sun's up already. It's nice and warm. But I like these colder autumn and winter days when it's dry, skies are clear. So, right, I'm on the Great Glenway now. Obviously I'm not going to follow it all the way. It's 70 miles to Fort William from here. But anyhow, I follow that for a little while. Takes me under the road, and this is the outskirts of Inverness on the side that I live in. And quite a busy road. It's coming up to 7 o'clock. The commuters are all beginning to come into town. You can see all the lights are coming on in the buildings. People beginning to waken up, ready for another day. So as I say, that's the outskirts of town where I live. I live about a mile or so further up the hill, but this is the edge of town here. That's the local golf course there. I've always hiked, I've always walked, I've always enjoyed it. And hopefully will continue to enjoy walking for many years to come. I don't do the great big hikes anymore that I used to do. As I say, with my knees giving me problems. It's a robin. And that's the parking lot for the local golf course. Somebody on a bicycle. So about 7 o'clock onwards, the place becomes more alive. So I tend to go, as I say earlier, about 6 o'clock or so. Gets me into town about just after 8 o'clock usually. If I take my time, do my shopping and then head home again. So what I'm going to do now is take a shortcut onto the actual golf course. This is a new golf course. It's only been here for a few years. When I first moved here more than a decade ago, this used to be all farmland. And then it was bought by the golf course people, the golf club. So there's a pond down there. That's a golf course clubhouse over there with the lights on. And that's the beginning of the countryside. The hills over there is where I used to hike. And we're going up to an area called Torvain, which is that ridge line up there. So I often in the winter time when it's dark cut across the golf course. In the springtime, summertime, when it's light, there's usually people already playing golf here as early as 7 o'clock, but now when it's becoming, you know, darker mornings, they don't tend to turn up until after 8 o'clock or so. Coming up to the highest point of the golf course here. So that's the road down there. You can see the truck going along it. And the road over there is the A82 that goes down to Fort William. And as I say, this is the highest point of the golf course. So you've got that line of trees over there. As I say, this used to be farm fields. So that's the outskirts of Inverness where I live. So that's Craig Dunane up there. That hill is called Craig Patrick. There's a hill fort on top of it. And if you follow down the line of trees all the way to the bottom, I just live on the other side of that, so about a mile and a bit from here. So you can see how it's beginning to become rural here. But all these houses there weren't there when I moved here. It's kind of a shame what they've done to the place. It used to be a nice place for hiking, as I say. And you can see that's the hill of Tomnahuick, the fairy hill. According to a local legend, the Queen of the Fairies lives in the hill. And then you got the fog coming along. You can see the fog beginning to come in now, because we're just about half a mile or so from the River Ness, and of course the canal is just between us and that hill over there. That was one of my favorite places to hike. That's the hill of Torvain. Torvain and Tomnahuick are glacial hills. So what that means is they were created by glaciers about 50,000 years ago. There would have been a glacier here which would have been about over a mile high, and on the bottom there was a river and it flowed downwards towards the sea, and the river carried rocks, debris, sand, dirt along with it, and it formed that ridge underneath the ice, and then the ice of course all melted, leaving these ridges behind. There's quite a few in the area here. The area used to be quite extensively glaciated back in the past. That's why all the hills and everything is so smooth. It's getting a little bit dark there. We're looking eastwards here, so it looks like we're getting some bad weather. The clouds are coming in, the moon's been covered up already. So I'm just going to go over that little bridge here, and then we're going to get over to the edge of the golf course, and then we'll head into Torvain. So we're just coming to the edge of the golf course. And it's called the King's Golf Course, and that's the flag there. Personally, I don't see the point of golf. It's a very boring game by the looks of things. Trying to knock a ball into holes. Oh look, there's a ball there. So we're just going to jump into that bunker here. And look at that, there's a yellow ball. I don't have much time for golf itself, but funny enough, I do like collecting golf balls, finding them. Kind of goes back to when I was a kid. I would have been maybe 5 years old, 6 years old. And my father used to take me out for walks. And the place we were living in at the time had a golf course on the edge of town too. And we used to walk along it. There was a park next to it, and we'd pick up golf balls, take them home. So it's kind of nostalgic for me finding these things. So we're just coming to the edge of the golf course here, and we're just going to sneak through this little gap in the hedge. So we've got a pathway here which goes up to the hill back there, but today we're going to go underneath the A82. That's the bridge here. So as I say, this is the main road connecting Inverness with Fort William, which is about, as I said, about 70 miles or so from here. It also passes Loch Ness, and as you can see, there's more frigging dog walkers. That's why I like going earlier. I always have the place to myself, but as I say, the closer we come up to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, the more people about. So you've got the underpass here with this graffiti. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn right here and just head into Torbain for a little bit. There's a nice pond here full of ducks. So across the road is the new golf course, and on this side of the road is what used to be the old golf course. This used to be a quarry back in the early 20th century up until I think about the 1980s or thereabouts. They used to quarry gravel and rocks here for the construction industry. As I say, this is a hill that was made up by glacial deposits. And then I think in the 1980s sometimes they turned it into a golf course, and it lasted up until the about less than a decade ago when they moved across the road here. So you got lots of ducks and what have you here. Got a lot of wildlife here. You got deer living in these woods. You got red squirrels. I love coming down here any time of the any season. It's quite a nice walk just around the edge of the what used to be the quarry. You've got oak trees here, you've got Scotch pine, you've got beech and birch trees. You've got some deserted tents here, which have been here since the summertime. So these tents have been here for the last little while. So in the summertime you get people staying here. And they just leave their tents here. Somebody in here? Hello? So you want to have a free tent? This is where to come. Boots and everything still left here. That's the thing with the modern day tents and equipment. They're so cheap that people just buy them, use them for a few days, a week or so, and then they're cheap enough just to be left here and disposed of. One of these days I'm going to find a dead body here, I'm quite sure of that. I don't even know how to open this thing. I can't see the zipper anywhere, but anyhow, can't be bothered opening it up. So we're just going to continue on our little walk. So as I say, this is the walk I do most of the time when I go into town. These structures here are for the frisbee folk. I think it's called disc golf or something. They throw frisbees around, try to hit these little targets here. It's very similar to golf. So anyhow, this has all been quarried out. This is a big hole that's been left by the quarry industry. And this used to be the golf course back in the 1980s through to the 2010s. And now it's a park. So you get people running here, you got dog walkers. It's quite nice. It's right next to the main road here, but it's still quite nice. It's one of my favorite kind of urban rural areas. It's not too far from the actual proper countryside, and it's not too far from the city of Inverness. Right, we're not going to go that way just now. We're going to go and do a detour up here. So you got these old steps here. They used to allow access down to the golf course from the road. Got these metal steps, stairs. I think these may have been here put up by the quarry folk. I don't think they were put up by the golf club. Anyhow, you got the entrance here. And there's an old track that runs into the old quarry. So this is where they used to carry out all the stuff. And sometimes I'll just sit here. It's a nice area to sit. Sometimes you'll see deer coming into the field down there. That shed here belongs to the disc golf people. But more importantly for me, we've got a regular stop here for me to have a piss. Now we're going to leave the main road and head down this old track here, and I'll just continue with my walk into town.